Hey there, YouTubers. I will be talking to the phone, not so much to the camera here because all the engagement is happening over on Instagram, but this is where the content gets to live on. So as a forewarning, you may want to jump ahead in this video to kind of skip through some of that setup and intro over on Instagram. We usually do some rambling, some hellos, all that kind of stuff. You may want to jump through. We will be talking about all the latest updates to Instagram that have happened in the last number of months as of April 2018. So there's a lot going on. There's a lot of big updates, and that's everything we're going to be talking about in this video. So I'm going to go ahead and launch Instagram Live. Like I said, if you want to jump ahead in this video and skip over this stuff, you are more than welcome to do so. But thank you for coming in to watch this video. And of course, now I have... There we go. We are going to go live. Hey, we are live here on Instagram and we are live on YouTube. As you guys know, I used to do the Instagram and Facebook live stream simulcast. That didn't work out so well. Facebook Live didn't love me as much. So YouTube Live seems to be loving me. It worked great last time, so we're doing it again this time so that the video can live on in good format over on YouTube. So Uptempo Social, hey, George is in the house. Whitney Design Studios is here. So you're a stay-at-home is here. Good to see you as well. One Marketing Idea is here. Lori is here. Angie Connell Photography is here. Social Media Sean is here. Hello to all of you. We are talking all things Instagram update related this week. It was supposed to be this week, and I got all excited and said it was last week, and then I realized I had other plans and that it wasn't supposed to be the video last week. So for those of you who were trying to show up last week, I appreciate you coming back this week to hang out with me for the real show. I know that was a total blip on my radar last week, and I was just so excited to talk to you, but I kind of missed out and got ahead of myself. Assuming my daughter is here as well. Hi, gorgeous. Mama loves you. She sometimes tunes in with her dad, so she gets to see me and say hi. So if you're listening, sweetheart, I love you. Lori is waving and saying hi. Redhead Kel is here as well. Good to see you. Thank you all for coming in. Like I said, we are going to be talking all things Instagram updates. So let me go ahead and throw that up here. Instagram updates. Tanya's in the house. Hey, girl, hey. And Sabrina is in the house too. Yes, she is. Gula Footwear just joined us as well. So let's go ahead and post that. Let me go ahead and get that pinned. Now everybody knows what we are talking about. So thank you for everybody for tuning in. There is a lot going on. We have a lot of Instagram updates to cover. Things keep coming back or keep coming up and getting announced and all that. So we're going to cover all of those things, which reminds me that we need to talk about the fact that gifts are actually back as well. Tanya just pointed out that she didn't get her gifts back. So she's in Canada, and so all of us have gifts, and we're all talking about them, and then they took the gifts away. You guys may remember hearing that there was an issue with Giphy, and so both Instagram and Snapchat severed ties with Giphy temporarily while they worked out to make sure that this wouldn't happen again. There was a racially inappropriate GIF that went out, and that was what caused this reaction. So all of us were complaining that we didn't have gifts. My girl Tanya was like, hey, we don't even have, or I don't have gifts, so I don't know what you guys are all complaining about. So that was kind of funny. Hold on, we're gonna go like that and just gonna block somebody who is being spammy. So anyways, Tanya was kind of, giving us a hard time that we were complaining about not having gifts. So we got gifts back last week. And I think it was last week. It was like over the weekend or something. I think it was last week. And so everyone's all excited. We have our gifts. My girl Tanya was like, hey, I still don't have them. And then like the next day she's like, oh my God, I got gifts. And she was so happy. And she had them for like 24 hours and then they took them away again. So my poor girl Tanya got them for a split second. And if anybody's going to use gifts effectively, it's Tanya. Like, she is legit going to use them effectively. And she didn't get them back. And so she's saying that she still doesn't have them. But those of us who have gifts, they are back. Enjoy them, embrace them, have fun with them. It's great to have them back for many people. Sahira Paper Creations is here as well. Maria is here. Glee Tribe is here. Love Fabric is here. Taste Marketing Co. is here. Erica Beach is here. Tamara Beardsley, hi, sweetie. So good to see you as well. And Tanya's saying, right? Yeah, like she would make the best of the gifts, you guys. And actually, I was in Mari Smith's Inner Circle today doing a session in there, and Mari Smith uses the best gifts. So if you've ever seen what she does with her stories and how she incorporates gifts, like she had this beautiful video of her garden, and then she put all these like butterfly gifts in the video. I was like, she's so creative and she's so good with how she uses gifts. I'm not good at the whole gift thing. It doesn't really jive with me. I use them on occasion, but I was like, man, Maria's got this whole gift thing down. Her game is on point. I got to figure it out so I can get up on that. And I was saying back because I just read Redhead Kel said, I'm so happy they're back. Dark Moon Nails is here as well. Whitney Design Studio said, got my gifts back, but still can't post anything to stories after 24 hours without a workaround. Well, that sucks. That shouldn't be happening. But again, things are weird and things happen. Erica Beach said she has to go. Please save. I will be saving it. If for any reason technology does not cooperate with me, it is being simulcast to YouTube Live, so the video will be fully available on YouTube after the fact. As soon as I'm done and hit save, it will be on YouTube. So no need to wait for the delay, but this will be, assuming technology cooperates, this will be on Instagram for 24 hours. So thanks to Erica for showing up, and please come back and watch the replay. And Tiny said, yep, she does. Hashtag Mari Smith. Roaring Pajamas just joined as well. So, like I said, you guys, lots going on in the world of Instagram. It has been keeping me on my toes. A lot of changes, a lot of feature updates, a lot of things going on. One of the things that, I swear Instagram does this shit to me on purpose. I'm not even joking. We had Social Media Marketing World end of February, early part of March. And I did all my screenshots. I did everything I needed to do, got everything, for my slides. And I was talking about Instagram analytics, and I do my presentation, and I've got all these screenshots. And literally after the presentation, one of my friends comes up to me and goes, it doesn't look like that anymore. So like literally the day of my presentation, or within a day or two of my presentation, Instagram changed the layout of the analytics. So that was really nice of them. I swear they do this on purpose. I swear they know when we're presenting, and they like release updates and mess with us right during Social Media Marketing World. It drives me crazy, but it's like, I know I'm on their radar, right? Like it's kind of one of those like self-glorious moments of like, they know who I am. They're doing this to me. Like I'm on their radar. But if you have noticed, Instagram Insights analytics do look a little bit different. The same information is there. It's just rearranged a little bit, where you used to be able to kind of slide left to right through a banner of information for impressions and reach and profile views and website clicks. Now it's a little bit more vertically. So it is a little bit different. So that was one of the weird updates that, again, they didn't really announce. You just kind of noticed it all of a sudden one day. So that's one of the new things that did show up. So just saying hi to a few more people. We got Kicker1N is here. The Motivating Marketer is here. Maria is saying, I want to watch the video, but Italy is 1:35 a.m. Good job. Love you. Thank you so much. The replay will be available. Like I said, even if technology doesn't cooperate here on Instagram, the YouTube Live will be available for replay as soon as we're done recording. So you can come back and watch anywhere you want. Tanya said, and the time you got to talk about what you wanted, hashtag analytics. Yes, I had wanted to talk about Instagram analytics for a while. And so I did. Instagram analytics was my topic at Social Media Marketing World. And I dove deep into all of the good analytic detail. And I really loved it. It was really fun for me to do that. George just joined from his personal account. You swapping back and forth. And then Captain Nemo just joined as well. So good to see all of you. So we are talking about all the latest Instagram updates, things that are going on in the world of Instagram in the last number of months. So there's been lots going on. We just talked a little bit about the fact that the insights, the analytics inside the Instagram app have been slightly updated. Eileen is over here on YouTube. Hey, girl. So I'm trying to glance back and forth. I am simulcasting, although I have much better lighting on my phone, which is the weirdest thing. I don't know why my desktop camera I look dark and dreary, whereas I look beautiful and sunshiny on my phone. So go figure, life happens. So Verve is in the house as well. Okay, so lots of updates. We're going to get through as many of these, probably all of them, but let's see how many we can get through. A big story just came out, last week, about maybe 5 or 6 days ago. I just heard about it yesterday. I kind of snuck under the radar in terms of Instagram story ads. And this is an update so that if you create an Instagram ad for the regular feed, which means it's probably either a square, it could be portrait, or it could be landscape. But if you're creating a regular Instagram feed ad in appropriate formatting dimensions, now you can actually create, and Watson KS is in the house as well. Hey, Ken, good to see you. If you're creating that regular feed ad, Instagram will automatically create a corresponding story ad, meaning you don't have to do anything. You just have to say you want to create a story ad, and it will take your creative from your regular feed ad, and it's going to translate it into a portrait mode for a story. So if it is a square or landscape or something that doesn't fill the full story dimensions, they're going to use their pixel recognition technology, and they will fill the background of that story space with a color or gradient that matches the colors in your ad, in your image. And if you have copy of like a caption type thing that's 190 characters or less, that entire caption will show up in the story as a text as well, assuming it's not a full portrait mode. If it's the full portrait mode image, that caption will not appear. But if it took a square image from your regular feed and then it puts it into a full portrait mode with the square in the middle, you'll see the text down at the bottom for your ad copy. So this is all automatic. You don't have to do anything, which is great. It's going to make it really easy to run a combination of story and feed ads. You guys really want to think about this in the sense that Instagram stories are not a heavy saturated place for ads. A lot of ads are showing up in Instagram. We see them all the time. We're used to that. But in terms of how things are set up for Instagram stories, a lot of people aren't creating ads. So you have a great opportunity to get in there and get some exposure and really take advantage of that ad space. Now, that being said, you definitely want to make sure that your stories are well formatted or your stories ad are well formatted for stories. We want it to correlate with what people normally see in stories. We don't want it to be something that is harsh or boring or overly corporate. We want something fun and witty and entertaining that when someone is scrolling through all these random stories in their world, that they're not shocked by the complete craziness of how yours is not related to what they're normally watching. We want them to integrate seamlessly. We want it to translate in a way that people can relate to, that seems like it's part of something they should expect to see and something that makes your brand look good. So you really, really, really want to create good ad content for your story ad. Run these things through friends and family, through your kids, through your neighbors. Get their feedback. Don't just be like, oh, this is a beautiful ad, and just assume it's great, because chances are in a story context, it may not be good. So we really, really want to take a look at all that kind of stuff. And Eileen over here on YouTube said she just shared this on Twitter. So thank you for that, sweetie. That's awesome of you. A bunch of comments have come in while I was chatting about Instagram stories ads. So we got, it all started with Flubber has joined as well. Ken and Tanya are chatting amongst themselves about Ken being late because he was late. He's not usually that late. Kevin Danae, I'm assuming, is here as well. We got Social Proof Digital. Pam Carlin is here. Agent Baz is here. Viconi is here. Tanya Plummer said, oh, that's just them talking amongst themselves again. I love when you guys just like go off on your tangents and talk amongst yourselves. This is why I love Instagram Live, because everything happens here. The engagement happens here. You guys are asking questions. You all talk amongst yourselves. You guys all love each other. And this is why I do Instagram Live. I get the most engagement and the most interaction here on Instagram whenever I go live. So I love you guys for that. Okay, so we talked about that. Another feature that is coming out. It's currently being tested, and one of my good friends, who is at Tickle Tree Studio, tickle like an actual tickle, tree like a tree, studio, all one word. Beautiful account. They do custom and semi-custom stationery, a lot of things for like weddings, graduations, birthday parties, that sort of stuff. She has a beautiful account, but she got unique first access to this new feature. And so I totally hijacked her account, took a whole bunch of screenshots, and I just wrote a blog post for Social Media Examiner. I do not know when it's coming out because I literally just submitted it last night. So that post will be coming out in the near future. So stay tuned and look for that from Social Media Examiner. I will make sure to share it to the group, my Facebook group, Jen's Trends in Social Media. If you want to go ahead and join that group, I will add you to the group, and then you can see that blog post when it comes out. But this new feature is basically a regram. So we have not had a native regram feature within Instagram ever. We've always had to use a third-party tool. And so this new feature actually allows you to take a regular feed post from your or anybody else's account and share it to your story. So you can't share it to your own feed. That's not available yet. But this allows you to regram a post from the regular feed to your story. This is a great way to do cross promotion. So if you had something like if you announced you had a blog post or something that came out and you had that on your regular feed, you could then share that to your story so everyone in your story would see that. If you affiliate with other companies or there's products or services or information, educational content, like for example, when I share a breaking news update, you could take that breaking news update, share it to your story, and then everyone would see it. The great thing is once it's in your story, people can tap on it and it says see post, just like if you tap on a geotag location tag or a hashtag type thing, and it says, see location or whatever. It has a little see post button. You tap on that and it takes them right to the original post. So it's not regrammed only to your story. They can actually go visit the real post, meaning they can comment, they can like, they can respond to it, they can forward it, they can reshare it to their story. All of this can go on based on the original post. Think about the capacity of this as a marketer. Think about this as a brand. Think about the potential exposure you have. If you're creating educational content that people want to share and put in their stories, other people can then see and come find your content to gain audiences, gain popularity, gain new eyeballs on your content, get, more engagement, all these sorts of things. Like this is it's a huge opportunity for new exposure, and it's your audience doing it on your behalf. Not to mention, like I said, you can take something and share it from your feed to your own story. So if you have audiences that follow all of your regular feed, but not really your stories, you can post it in your feed. But then for those people who don't usually look at the feed and only look at stories, you show it in there. Now they are not guaranteed, but more likely to see it since they're going to have it in your stories now as well. Lots of possibilities with this. The blog post I have coming out, I talk about some creative ways that you can use this feature, things like contests, and some creative things to think about going forward. So like I said, stay tuned for that blog post from Social Media Examiner, because that's going to be a really fun tool when it launches. I'm not saying if, because I'm pretty darn sure this will launch. I don't have any secret insight, but I am pretty darn confident that this will launch globally. There may be a slight variation to it, but it will launch. I'm very confident in that because everybody wants a regram. Okay, so a whole bunch of comments. We got Metropolis Culture is here. Tanya said today's blog post was good too. Today, I'm like, what did I write today? So today I had a blog post on my blog at jenstrends.com talking about where to put your hashtags, comments, or captions. So go check out jenstrends.com if you want to get my official end all be all, settle the argument once and for all. That is over at jenstrends.com. And I also wrote a blog post, I think that came out yesterday on Social Media Examiner, about using all the different fonts within Instagram stories, because now there's the new 4 fonts. So there's technically 5 font options and how to use all those creatively for branding in your Instagram stories. Monica is here as well. George is all excited about the regram. Tanya said, oh, exactly, regram, but I still want my gifts first. The Lauren Fast is here. George said, so when you appear on the Gear Up podcast and I promote it, you can regram it to your story? Boom, I can. George is launching a new podcast, and I'm very excited to be on his show. Russell is here as well. Watson said, give Canadian their gift stickers. Tanya said she had them for 24 hours, and lots of her Canadian friends have them. Oh, that's good to know. Mike Alton is here. Mike, hello. Eileen is here as well. Eileen is going back and forth. I love you. I love that you're so like talented with all your different pieces of technology and how you take in content, because she was just over on the YouTube live and now she's here watching the Instagram live as well. So Ken said, frustrating. A friend of mine finally got gifts on her account yesterday and her clients' accounts all had them, but not hers. And this is the thing, you guys, sometimes these things roll out and you get them on 3 accounts and not one. You're like, why did the one not get it? Like some things just get held up in rollouts and you just have to be patient. You can try the whole log out, log back in, uninstall, reinstall. You can do all those things all you want. Sometimes they fix it. Sometimes you just have to wait. And I'm sorry, it sucks. I don't know how many times I have to tell people, no, I don't have a fix. You just have to wait it out. And it really does suck. And I'm sorry. And now I'm throwing my pens on the floor. So let me just get that back. Alrighty, here we go, you guys. So we talked about regramming to stories. Shoppable posts for everybody. Shoppable posts rolled out as a test a little while ago. So that was, I don't know, that was a few months ago. They started doing that. It was last year. It was rolling into Christmas. I think they ended at the end of November, for the beta test period ended. So now they have come out and said, everybody can have them. So you do have to get approval. It's not something where you can just do shoppable posts because you want to. You have to have a physical product. You have to be approved. You have to have a Facebook shop, meaning you have to have the shop page set up on your Facebook business page where you actually have products and everything linked. If you have all of that and you get approved, then you can create shoppable posts on your Instagram account, meaning that you can tag products in the photos that people can tap on them, get the information, the name, the price, that sort of thing, and then they can tap on it and go right to your website to purchase it. The big struggle is that you have to have an e-commerce store on your site. I'm finding, and I'm trying to find a workaround even for one of my clients, but if you use something like Amazon or eBay or Etsy or those sorts of things, it's not working. They're not letting you set up these shops if you don't have your own physical or your own e-commerce store on your own website. And like I said, it has to be a physical product. And I know people that have physical products and have an e-commerce store set up and they still got denied. So I don't really know what to tell you and why certain people are being accepted or denied. But it is something you kind of have to go through that process, unfortunately. Ken saying it took him 6 months to get Facebook stories. That's true. I think Ken was one of the last man standing to ever get Facebook stories. He was like over here dying, and he actually uses them. I'm sitting here like, I don't even care. I've never used a Facebook story ever. And poor Ken wanted them. And I swear he was like the last person on the planet to get them. Tabler Party of 2 just joined as well. GPH F2016 from Nebraska. Hello, sweetie. Good to see you as well. Okay, so shoppable posts are rolling out to everybody. So that's exciting news. That was another update that came out. Another recent update. And this was one that was a big deal and everybody freaked out. And I was like, I don't care. Like, I really don't care. And that is the big news a couple weeks ago that you can now add usernames and hashtags that are clickable in your bio. Everyone thought this was the greatest thing ever. Everyone was like, oh my gosh, I can add clickable hashtags. And oh my gosh, I can put usernames and everything in my bio. And I'm like, who cares? Why do you want to? Like, this is stupid. Like, this is like the fact that this was a big deal and this was even like launched and put, out there and that everyone got so excited about it. I was literally like, okay. Like, you really should have seen my reaction. Like, it was that bad. If you could have had, you probably could have made a meme out of my face from my reaction to this stupid update. So let me explain why I don't care, because I really don't care about this. First of all, just because they're clickable doesn't mean they're searchable. So if you put a hashtag in your bio, it doesn't make your bio searchable, okay? There's 2 things that Instagram searches: your name and your username. That is where any keyword needs to go. Your name or your username. Search criteria on Instagram does not look at your bio, does not look at your captions, doesn't look at anything but your name and your username. And adding these clickable hashtags and usernames did nothing to change that search parameter. Will that change in the future? Possibly. If it does, I will be the first one to tell you. But that being said, no, it has absolutely no impact on search. So, on top of it, let's think about this for a second. If you go and put hashtag social media marketing, hashtag Instagram expert for my bio, why would I do that? If somebody clicks on that hashtag, they're going to go to a hashtags gallery with a whole bunch of other people's content. Not my content, other people's content. Why would I want to do that? If you're a hairdresser and you put hashtag hairdresser, hashtag hairstylist, hashtag hair artist, anything, guess what? When they click on it, they're going to go see everybody else in the world that is creating content on that hashtag. You are literally sending people away from your profile to go find other people creating this kind of content. That's insane to me. It's absolutely insane. There's no reason why you would want to do this. So you definitely have to think about what hashtags you're putting in there. Put in one hashtag that is yours. Put in your own branded hashtag that if somebody clicks on it, they're going to see more of your content. If you have a hashtag that you create, that your customers create content like in user-generated content way, like if they're tagging things that have either your products or your service or your event or your venue or that sort of thing, by all means, put that hashtag in there, because then when somebody clicks on it, they're going to go see more of the content about your business. This is the only reason you should care about this. The only reason you should care about clickable hashtags is that you can put your branded hashtag or a specific campaign hashtag in there for a period of time that you want people to go find that additional content. That's the only reason. Any other reason is not worth it, in my opinion. And everyone, of course, was like, oh, I can put hashtags in there. They went and dropped like 7 hashtags in their freaking bios. And I was like, why? Why would you do that? You just wasted all those characters to talk about who you are, why you are, and how awesome you are to tell people what all these other people are doing. It's ridiculous. So, usernames, pretty much the same opinion. Why on earth would you want to send somebody to somebody else's profile? Can't say I would want to. The exception to that would be if you run multiple accounts. For example, let's say you're a photographer and you do portrait photography and you do landscape photography. So in your portrait photography profile, you could say, hey, I also do landscape photography at da-da-da-da-da. And you could cross-promote. And likewise, on your landscape, you could talk about the one you do on your portrait photography. Or maybe you have multiple businesses, you could cross-promote them. Maybe you do an affiliate type thing. Maybe you're doing a campaign where you're interacting and partnering with another brand. So maybe for a period of time, you want to mention that brand and say, brand affiliate with or brand partner with or da-da-da, and have that app mentioned. But we're talking about a very limited scope where you would ever want to put anybody else's username in your bio. Like it's very, very limited. Mike just typed in and said, I'm the exception. Yeah, I mentioned Agorapulse. Yes, if you have a personal account and you want to talk about the company you work for, again, you can say my position, I'm so-and-so at, and put the company name, things like that. Those are all great ways to use it, but they're very limited in scope. So do I really care about this update? No, it's not that life-changing. It's not that big of a deal. And on top of it, if you weren't aware, when you mention somebody in your bio, they get a notification that you did that. And if they don't want to be mentioned, they can disconnect that connection, which means don't go around just highlighting and tagging people for the sake of doing it and thinking that's going to get you new exposure. That's not how this game works. So it's definitely something you can use, but you need to use it in moderation and you need to use it strategically. All right. So after that nice long rant, a bunch of comments came in. Okay. So Tanya said, oh, I see them so overused. Mike is laughing at me. George is saying it was an awesome interview. Octo Nation is here. Good to see you as well. Congrats on the charity status, the nonprofit status. I just saw that as well. So congrats to you guys on that. Tanya said that's why she only uses one hashtag and it's her branded hashtag. Exactly. Mike said exactly the same thing with Twitter. Russet Locks is here. Watson K said half-assed feature rollout. Octonation said people have taken over my branded hashtag to promote their stuff. Gotta love when that happens. So he said no go for us. So he's not going to use the hashtag because it's, again, going to send people to things that are irrelevant. And that's something you need to realize as well. When you get a hashtag that gets out of hand, then at that point you don't want to be using it because, again, you're going to send people to promotional products and content that has nothing to do with your brand. George referenced hashtag Gear Up and hashtag Gentourage. So for those of you who don't know, at Social Media Marketing World, George came up with the hashtag Gentourage for my groupies because I had my crew with me. Like, it was awesome, you guys. I really did. It was like I had a crew and they were amazing and they were awesome. They're all my friends. But so George became an honorary member of the Gentourage. So that became the hashtag. And hashtag Redonkulous, yes. Chocolate Johnny is in the house. If you guys are not following Chocolate Johnny, you always need to make sure you're following him. I was obsessed. I always am obsessed around Easter because he does these massive, like you can't see my hands. Like my hands are so far up the screen in terms of how massive this chocolate Easter egg is. And it's this giant chocolate Easter egg covered in sprinkles. And one of these days I'm going to go to Australia just so I can get me a giant Easter egg. I'm not even joking. Everyone's kind of just laughing and commenting. We had Social Media 4 is here. Batik Beads for You is here. Mike said, George DeMann is Jen's Trends Fan Club treasurer. George said, when I quit my job and go off on my own, I'm mentioning at Uptempo Social. You're welcome, Octo Nation. Mike said, I'm not the treasurer, I'm the president. Oh, you just promoted yourself. Okay, then. Rick Watson is here as well. Tanya said, I was in that groupie crew. Yes, you were, sweetheart. You were leading that crew, and I love you for it. I am good, Johnny. I am so good. Dark Moon Nail said, so if my business is at darkmoon_essentials, I'd hashtag it. Yeah, you'd want to create a hashtag for your brand. If you haven't already created a hashtag for your brand, you definitely want to consider one. Understand that it has to be the all one word. You can't have the symbols or any of that sort of stuff in your hashtag, but you could absolutely find one that works for you. Chocolate Johnny saying he's looking now at selling on Instagram. I would love to see you selling on Instagram. I want to see you get approved. I want to see you set that up so that you can sell all of your marvelous products and ship around the world because the world needs more of your chocolate. It's the real chocolate. As someone who grew up in Canada and appreciates real chocolate, when I moved to the States, the chocolate here is not real chocolate. I'm sorry. And if you've ever been overseas or to Canada and had a real chocolate, like that rich Belgian delicious chocolate, you know what I'm talking about. And Chocolate Johnny has the real chocolate. So he needs to sell that stuff around the world. So you need to be using Instagram to sell all your products, and you need to send me more chocolate. I'm just saying. Okay, so another update that came out recently, excuse me, was the big news. And of course, so I was laughing because I finally wrote a blog post. I think, was it 2 weeks ago? I finally wrote a blog post about the changes to the Instagram algorithm, and I have done everything to debunk these changes that came out earlier this year. Johnny saying hashtag Canada makes great chocolate. They do. They do. They really do. And I miss it. And the first thing I do when I go home to Canada is I get me some chocolate. I'm not even joking. He's asking if he has to be approved to sell on Instagram. You have to have the Facebook shop set up. And then once you have the Facebook shop, then you have to submit for approval to actually be able to sell on Instagram and have those shoppable posts. It's a bit of a process. It's not super complicated, but it is a bit of a process. Generation PR is here. Hey, girls, so good to see you as well. Tanya said we do love our chocolate because she's Canadian. People love saying the word algorithm. Yes, they do. Life's Little Sweets is here. And then Octonation said, and consequently crying about it. Good to see you, Life's Little Sweets. So I finally, like I said, about 2 weeks ago, I wrote this blog post debunking everything about these algorithm changes that came out in January, which, as you guys know, I've talked about in great detail. I did a full hour here, which was a not safe for work version, which is now available on YouTube. I've talked about it on podcasts. I've talked about it in interviews. I have gone anywhere and everywhere here on Instagram in capacity to talk about debunking that all of this stuff was not real. But I never wrote it in a blog post. It was one of those things I was like, I'm not going down that road. I don't want to give credence to this. And I felt like writing a blog post was only going to put it in writing was going to make it more, real than it really needed to be. But it wouldn't go away. So I finally wrote a blog post about it. posted about it. I think it was on the Wednesday and said, hey, new blog post is out. Here's the truth about the rumored new algorithm. And then literally the next day, Instagram came out and said, hey, we made an update to the algorithm. And I was like, you freaking bastards. I told you, they are listening to me. They are watching me and they're like, oh, Jen just wrote a blog post. So let's put out a blog or a notification of our own about the fact that the algorithm changed. So of course, timing inevitably was always perfect. I'm like, why? And so just to quickly interject really quick here, Rattlef, or I'm assuming, Rattlef said, what's your position on rumored shadow bans? They don't exist. There's an algorithmic sort within hashtags. You are not being shadow banned. Shadow banning is not happening. I've talked about it in great detail. As Tanya said, there's a blog post. Go to jenstrends.com and search for shadow ban. Go to my YouTube channel, search for shadow ban. I have talked about it in great detail and explained what is actually happening. So Hendo Fit Team is here as well. And Watson K said, uh-oh, shadow ban has been mentioned. I know, I can't get away. It's inevitable. Shadow ban and algorithm will haunt me for the rest of my life. I'm not even joking. So the actual algorithm change that was announced was a good one. It was none of this bad stuff. It was none of these things that were hypothesized and talked about in great detail around the world that drove me crazy. So Electronation said, shadow bullshit. Yes. And so basically this algorithmic update it's a good thing. Basically, there's two features in this new algorithmic update. Basically, the first one is more recent content. It is not going back to chronological feed. Let's just get all of that straight, okay? It is not going back to chronological. Some people jump the gun. They're like, oh, chronological is coming back. And that is so not what is happening. So let's just be clear about all that, okay? But there will be more of an emphasis to put the more recent content higher in the feed so that when you log in, you're not seeing a post from 3 days ago at the top of your feed. They will do a better effort to put more recent content that is more relevant to you in that capacity at the top of your feed. This is a good thing in general. Users are very, very happy about this. Now, that being said, think about this from a marketing perspective. And I talked about this in a blog post or a social media post. I think I put this in the social media or the Facebook group. And here's the thing. If you're a marketer and you're only posting 2 or 3 times a week, or maybe only once a week, it was great to know that if people loved your content, if they logged in and they hadn't seen your content, then it was from 3 days ago, that there was still a really good chance they would see it because it would show them things they're most interested in or relevant to when it was posted. But with this new change to push towards more content that is more recent, they may not see your post from 3 days ago the same way now. So this could actually have a slightly negative impact for marketers and businesses. So I want you to think about that strategically. I want you to think about where you're putting that content and when, so that you're maximizing your opportunity for your audience to see it. This may mean that you need to think about putting your content at different times. Do you need to focus on maybe a different day of the week, maybe on weekends versus weekdays, a different time of the day, things like that to make sure you're capitalizing on your audience when they're most likely to see that content. It does not mean to post more content. That is not the solution. If you have a set strategy, maintain that strategy. If you want to post more content because you have the ability to create quality content, then by all means, do it. But don't create more content just for the sake of trying to overcome this algorithmic change. If you're always chasing these changes, you're never going to see real success. It's more important to create an authentic strategy and build a real connection with your audience based on quality content than chasing algorithmic changes. So we had a few people pop in. Jazzfly Media is here. Donna Gucci is here. We've got Miracle something. I honestly have no idea how to pronounce that, so I'm going to let that one slide. Josh A. Kent is here as well. So thank you guys for coming in. We're talking about all things Instagram update related. And right now we're talking about the update that was listed a couple weeks ago about the Instagram algorithm changes. So the emphasis is on more recent posts. The other change they made to the algorithm is that now if you're scrolling through Instagram, in the past, you may have noticed, like you're scrolling and you're doing your thing and you're all of a sudden it would just refresh on you and it would take you back to the top of the feed and you're like, whoa, WTF, like what just happened? And HendoFit team, yes, this will stay in my stories for 24 hours. If you can't stay and watch the whole video, come back and watch the replay. It's also being broadcast right now on YouTube Live, and that YouTube video will be available as soon as I end broadcast. So if you can't catch it here on Instagram, you can always come over to my YouTube channel at Jen's Trends, and you can watch it there. So if you're scrolling through Instagram, and you're all of a sudden you're get cut off and you get jumped back to the top of the feed and it refreshes on you and you lost your place. That was really frustrating, obviously, for a lot of people. So they have made sure that will not happen anymore. I haven't seen this in action, but the idea being that now you would actually get notification of a button that would say see new posts. So you can be scrolling and it won't automatically refresh. It would tell you that there's an opportunity to refresh, but you can keep scrolling for as long as you want to. And then if you hit the tap see new posts, it will take you back to the top of the feed and it will refresh with the newest content for you. So you can absolutely take advantage of that. It's going to be helpful for users. It's definitely a benefit. It's nothing that I see any negative impact on that. But like I said, I have not actually seen this in application at this point. So I haven't seen the button. I would love to take a screenshot of it, share it with you guys. But I haven't. Maybe I'm just not scrolling enough. I tend to log in and scroll and then bounce out and then I'll come back. I don't stay on for a really long time. So maybe that's why I just haven't had the opportunity to see it yet. And Tanya said she hasn't seen the see new post button yet either. Infinite Dex just joined us as well. The Renovated Acre just joined us. So thank you guys for tuning in as well. We are doing good on time. I was a little worried. And Boutique Beads for You said that haven't seen them either. Okay, so another feature that came out, and it was announced a while ago. I'm not sure when. It's probably been a few months now, and I didn't have it at the time that it was announced. But it's the update to show recently active status. If you actually go into your direct messages and you go in and look at everybody that you've had direct message contact with, you can see when they were most recently active. If they have that turned on, they can actually turn that feature off if you want to. You can actually go into your settings and you can go in and you can turn off. There's a little slider to turn off if people can see when you are recently active. So some people you won't be able to see this for if they've disabled that function. But for the longest time, I didn't have it. Now I've noticed I do have it. So if I go into my direct messages, I can see that somebody was active 20 minutes ago, 2 hours ago, 2 days ago, that sort of thing. It kind of gives you a little bit more insight into when someone was active. So is this good or bad? In general, I think it's good. It might be a little bad for those people who ignore people. It's a little stalkerish. And I will admit, there are times I don't respond to people's direct messages right away. I'm like, oh my God, I do not have time to answer that person. I know it's going to be a legit question that I just do not have the mental capacity to handle at that time. So I ignore it and I go back and respond later that day, maybe the next day. I don't do a lot of work on the weekends. I have my daughter on the weekends. So a lot of times if I know it's something that's going to take a lot of my time or commitment to answer a really complicated question, I won't answer it until the weekday. So I might go 3 or 4 days. But I've been active on Instagram. So if they go in and looked at that, they would see I was active, but that I totally ignored them. So I feel bad. But it's one of those things where that's just, certain situations I will ignore direct messages for that purpose. It's not meant to be rude. I'm not ignoring you because I don't want to talk to you. It's usually because I just don't have the capacity to answer your question at that time. But it is good because that way, let's say you did send somebody a direct message and you're like, man, they haven't responded to me. But if you see that they haven't been active for a week, then you're like, oh, okay, cool. Well, they haven't been on Instagram. Obviously, they haven't got my message. So in that way, it could be really helpful to you. If you as a marketer are communicating with people, whether you're reaching out to customers, potential affiliates, business partners, any of that sort of thing, it can be a good way to say, is this person ignoring me? Do I need to reach back out another way? All that sort of stuff. So it can be a bit of a way to kind of keep tabs on people, but it can be beneficial if you're trying to get direct communication with somebody, especially, like I said, if you're doing a contest announcement or something like that, and you wanted to make sure that person got the message that they won the contest. If you send a direct message, you'd want to make sure they got that message. So there's a lot of reasons why you would want to know. I think it's good that they've initiated this. I know a lot of people kind of freaked out and were like, that's creepy. It's way too stalkerish. If that's how you feel, you can go into your settings, scroll down. You're going to almost scroll down about 2/3 of the way down your settings from your profile. And you can go in and you can turn off that slider that people would be able to see that. So we've got Skinny Pistachio joined us as well. Watson KS said, God, the freak out when this first started rolling out. Exactly. And Normandy Sewing is here. Eileen, I just said, yep, you can turn it off. So if you want to, you can scroll down in your settings and slide that off. Uptempo Social said, I'm going to slide into your DM right now. You slide in, I'm going to ignore you just because it's you. Just kidding. Batik Beads for You just said, I don't think I would. That would limit me from doing what I need to do. And Larry Snow just popped in over on YouTube. Hey, Larry, good to see you as well. All right, so that's that. So the last thing that I want to talk about for updates, I told you there were a lot. Look at this, you guys. Like, I have a whole long list of all these updates I wanted to make sure we covered today. So the last thing I want to talk about, which again, on Social Media Examiner, there is a whole blog post on this topic. I do contribute to Social Media Examiner once a month on the topic of Instagram. So whenever these things pop, I usually write a blog post for them on these topics, covering all of these things so that you guys always have the most up-to-date information. So you can always make sure that you catch those blog posts over there as well. So the last thing I want to talk about is highlights. Most of you have probably heard about them. A lot of you are using them, but now you can put highlights from your Instagram stories onto your profile. So if you haven't set this up, if you haven't, underneath your profile, when you go to your Instagram account, you have your profile and you have your call to action buttons, your call directions and email if you have those set up on your business profile. Below that are a bunch of circles. Those are highlights. And then below that is your regular feed. So those circles, if you haven't set them up, you can easily set them up. Highlights are going to take anything from any of your stories. Tanya is saying she was them too. My good, poor Tanya. She wants to take so much advantage of Instagram and she keeps getting denied all these things. Life's Little Sweet says that she loves them. She has hers all set up. Batik Beads for You said me too. So here's the thing. These are a great, great, great tool. Like Life's Little Sweets just said, this is absolutely an amazing tool. Mine are not up to date. They totally should be. And I'm lazy and I haven't done it. It's totally my fault. And I honestly don't use enough stories. I need to be better about consistently putting content in my stories, in which I said have more content to put in my highlights. But basically you can take any story, you can save it to a highlight. So you can create different albums and these different highlights. So for example, I have one for blog posts. I have one for books and that sort of thing. I could, if every time I'm interviewed on a podcast, if I had the link to those podcasts, I could put that in a different album. I could do things when I go to conferences or things like that. I have one that is specifically for Instagram tips. So when these new features come out, how to use them, that sort of thing. So those all go in there. So that's what I do. I've seen people use them for all different purposes. If you have a product line, you could have, if you have multiple different products, you could have a different highlight for each product. If you have different types of services, you could have a different one for each service. Again, if you are an artist, you could have one for different types of artwork, that sort of thing. There's a lot of ways you could use these highlights. You could use them for behind the scenes. You can have one for Q&A. You can have one for employee highlights, meaning I didn't mean to use highlight redundantly there, but like to actually showcase and talk about an employee, give them a shout out kind of thing. So there's a lot of different ways you can use all these highlights. It's very, very valuable. Those take what was a 24-hour story, puts it on your profile, and it lives on indefinitely unless you choose to remove it from that highlight. So if you put it in there, it can stay there forever if you want it to, which means it's a whole new level of real estate for your audience. When they come to your profile, they can go specifically to that topic, see all of your content related to that specific topic. So for example, I have my IG news and updates kind of thing. So someone can go there and see all the latest news and updates that have happened in Instagram and stay on top of everything. It's a great tool. It's a great place for real estate to get more content in front of your audience. Stories have a different capacity. You can have these short little videos. You cannot repurpose live, which drives me crazy. Oh my God, if I could take my lives and repurpose them, I would be the happiest person on earth. Instagram, are you listening to me? Just saying. I would love to have that. So it is something that the lives don't work, but your short videos and your photos and your animations with the GIFs, all that kind of stuff are great that you can put in there. Not to mention, ladies and gentlemen, if you are a business profile with over 10,000 followers, you get that swipe up link, which means you can send people to any link anywhere in the universe. So you can send them to your blog, your product page, to podcasts, to opt-in pages, to contest submissions, all these different things. Guess what? When you say that to your highlight, the link stays with it. So again, if you had a product, if you had a blog post link, those sorts of things, that becomes like a catalog that someone can go there and they can swipe up and they can go to those links anytime without issues. So you go from having that one clickable link in your bio to now being able to create a product catalog or a services catalog or a resources catalog right there in your highlights that you can send people to forever. So it's a very, very, very valuable piece of real estate. It is such a great tool. Again, that's the swipe up link is only if you're a business profile with over 10,000 followers. I just want to take a look here at all of the comments that came in because a bunch of people were commenting. So Skinny Pistachio said, do you recommend changing the highlights cover? Yes, and you can customize it. And I think somebody mentioned that in here. I think Canva has a great template. Mine are not great. I apologize. I totally want to customize mine. But some people have a great example. Even Uptempo Social, I think you've done yours as well. I was just on Todd.live last night, TODD.live, and he has a great example of what those cover images look like. Basically, you want to create these images for a story. You want to create your stories, and you want to create something with a cute little icon or graphic in the center of that story, and that's it. Because the story or the highlights crop to like a little tiny circle. So you want to take that, and you're going to upload all of those to your stories. And then what you're going to do is go in after the fact and go to your highlight and say, pick that one and make that the cover. And then that way, all the other content will roll behind that, but that becomes your cover. So it makes a nice, beautiful example. Stephanie Liu, at Hey Stephanie, I believe is her actual handle on Instagram, has a great example. Hers are like all these pretty different colors and stuff. So lots of people are doing creative things with that. And Life's Little Sweet just said, yes, you can edit the cover as well. And she uses her logo on the cover, but you can make them different. Absolutely. Tiffany Bolton is in the house. Great idea for behind the scenes. Yes. Life's Little Sweet said it was buggy for days for me this week when setting it up, but it finally worked. I'm so glad. Things can always get buggy, and Instagram's been kind of weird this week, you guys. I'm feeling like something is coming because everyone's been complaining about bugs all week. Like things have just not been normal this week for a lot of people in a lot of ways. So, and not everybody like in the same way. Like people are having issues with followers. People are having issues with hashtags. People are having issues with posting. People are having issues with stories. Like there's a lot of bugs in a lot of different ways. So something is coming. I'm just saying. Which actually, that reminds me. I'll talk about that in just a second before we get cut out of time. Eileen said, I like watching this on YouTube, but I come over here to be part of the community. Ah, thanks. Speaking of which, Eileen said she was just saying hi to Larry over there and saying, yeah, most of the comments are over on Instagram. And that's it. I'm glad I can do this on YouTube Live and that it can live on and that the information is there. I feel bad because I never talk to this camera. I'm always talking here because this is where you guys are. This is where the conversation is. So maybe someday I'll get to the point where people actually show up on the YouTube Live and I'll really have to actually kind of go back and forth. Tanya said, I'm working hard to get that swipe up feature. Only 8,900 followers to go. You got this, girl. You got this. And oh my gosh. See, this is why I'm like, I'm not dyslexic. I swear. I was calling it batik beads, which it's not. And so I'm being nicely corrected to say, it's bakit or bakit beads. So my apologies. I always say this, you guys. You guys were there when I made the absolute fool of myself with the guide to consulting services. So I always butcher people's users' names, and I apologize profusely when I do because it is inevitable. I will butcher your name. So Watson said, Instagram be like, don't mess with Jen and roll out highlight live saves until the day of the presentation. Yeah, pretty much. Every time I complain about it, they're just listening to me. And then when the time comes and they'll be like, oh, all of a sudden you have it. And I'll be like, of course, I just told everybody you don't have it. And then they'll roll it out. But I'll be happy when they do. Uptempo Social said, only 9,800 more followers to go. Skinny Pistachio said, I feel like it loses the authenticity of the highlights. Are you saying that having the cover photo does that? Life's Little Sweet said, I used Canva Mobile, imported my PNG logo. Good for you. That's a great way to do it. This is one that I won't even try to pronounce. It's capital something chamber. I will butcher your name, so I won't even try. Tanya said Amy Landino does a good job with it as well. Laura Hop showed up. Jamaican Foodie is here. Bakit Beats said, yes, I had issues getting into DM, but now all is fine, and is laughing at me and telling me it's okay. No big deal. No sounds back to everyone's. And so back. See, this is why I need people to include pronunciations when I start talking about them. Okay, Backty beads for you. I love you. Blah. I apologize. Like I said, I'm horrible. Skinny Pistachio is saying yes. Okay. And it's entirely up to you. Like I said, some people have these great cover images, some people don't. It's entirely up to you how you want to use them. And if you don't like them, then don't use them. That's the great thing about it. We get to create our own brands on Instagram. Back to you saying I got it, sending me lots of love. And Tanya said, I read Batchick Tears, so don't feel bad. I'm telling you guys, it's impossible to stay on top of these things, and they're so tiny. I have to I swear I have glasses for a reason, but I still, it's over here and you're reading it, and I always butcher them. I always make a complete fool of myself. So before we go, I do want to just say I don't have clarified information. So back to Beats is saying, no biggie, just wanted you to get it right. Thank you for always bringing us all good info. My pleasure. I just saw some things scrolling around in some Facebook groups in the last couple hours. I was busy off and on with a bunch of things all day. And this afternoon I saw a bunch of things pop up. So I don't think it's bad. I think people are not understanding what the update is and they're freaking out. But apparently Facebook put out the announcement. I haven't read the actual article. I haven't had time to dump into this, but I will make sure that I share this in the Facebook group at Jen's Trends and Social Media. If you're not a member of the group, go over there and join the group. Facebook made an update that today it is taking away the Instagram API functionality for third-party tools. Everyone freaked out. This means no scheduling. This means no liking, commenting, or sharing being a third-party app. Meaning if you use a dashboard tool, you can't do any interactions from the dashboard like you did yesterday. Here's why I don't think this is a big deal. And Mike Alton even said this in a group. I skimmed over his response. And like I said, I have to research this more. And I'm going to get cut off here in a couple minutes. But my understanding is that Instagram created the Instagram Graph API, which is specifically for business pages right now, and they are moving that towards business and personal. So the way it's currently set up is business profiles has used Graph API, personal profiles used regular API. So for these third-party tools, they had to have two back-end developments. So if you were a personal profile, you use this API. If you were a business profile, you use this API. The Graph API can schedule, comment, like, and do all those things via a third-party tool. The regular API is what apparently got shut down today. So this was supposed to happen in July, was I believe when it was supposed to happen. And they decided to turn around and say, no, we shut that down effective today. So it's not, I don't think it's that big of a deal. I think everyone's having a freak out about it. And I don't think it's really that big of a deal, because I think if everything was moving towards the Graph API, which almost every tool already had in place, because if you're doing scheduling through an app, like whether it's Agorapulse, Hootsuite, Sprout Social, Tailwind, any of those sorts of things, if you're doing that as a business profile, they're using the Graph API already. Any good tool is already using it. They had to put that in place. That was the whole changes that rolled out a little while ago. So this was already announced. It was supposed to happen in July. They just moved it up in time frame. So no, it doesn't mean you can't do anything. If anything, I think it just means now personal profiles are being moved to the Graph API as well, getting away from the old API to the new one, the same one that business profiles are on, which if that is the case would be great for any third-party tool, because now they don't have to have two. They can just do everything on one, which is always the plan. They just accelerated the timeline. So that is my preliminary thoughts on this. This is not definitive. I do not know this for sure. This is my current interpretation and understanding. So I will do more research. When I have more information, I will post about it. I will share that to the group and kind of clarify this information because I don't know all of it for right now. It just started coming out today from what I saw, although a couple people are saying that this started last night. Tanya was saying she saw about it last night. She said it's regards to the data breach, the whole Cambridge Analytical thing. And Watson KS, Ken had said, yeah, Union Metrics put something out yesterday about this, about 20 minutes before his chat. Graham Live, of course. And Uptempo Social said, I can still schedule my clients' Instagram posts. iSocial Cop is here as well. And Uptempo Social said now he's going to research after this. So I'm going to get cut off here in about 30 seconds to a minute. Life's Little Sweet says, yeah, I bet it's due to that. So they're going to be making these changes. They're going to keep doing things. We're going to keep seeing changes happen. This is a good thing if that's the case. And like I said, from a third-party tool, I'm sure if this is what's happening, they're just pushing everything to Graph, then it's a good thing. It's going to make their lives easier. Now, of course, there usually has to be some transition and process in the back end that these third-party tools may not have been aware of. So that may be a delay for some people, but it's definitely not catalytic like I think people are making it out to be. So with that being said, I will get cut off here in a minute or two, not even a minute or two, probably about 30 seconds. I'll get the notification here any second now. So those of you who were here, thank you so much for being here. I love you. I appreciate you showing up. Like I said, this will live on for 24 hours. Come back and watch the replay. If you missed any of this, if you came in late, come back and we covered all of these and more of all of the updates that are going on in the world of Instagram in the last few months. So thank you all so much. And the replay will be up on YouTube after this as well. So if it's something that you missed and can't watch the full replay in the next 24 hours, go over to YouTube and watch it there. Thank you so much. I love you guys. I will see you back in Joe will be available for replay. Obviously, I hope you got lots of good, juicy information out of all of that. Thanks.